Hey, good morning. What's going on, Periscope? Welcome back, and thank you for joining me again. Sorry about that. Kicked the camera a little bit. If you're joining me for the first time, my name is Robert Vicola. I'm a marketing coach, consultant, and advisor, and I thrive in helping business owners and entrepreneurs grow their business with simple, practical marketing advice and tactics. I'm so grateful that you joined me today. If this is your first time, you're in luck because this is only episode number 2. I started this little journey yesterday, and yesterday we talked about value propositions and how important a value proposition is to growing your business and to communicating effectively with your client base or with your customers, and that really that value propositions are the statement that delivers the highest value that you are providing to your customers. And it's typically defined by their needs, their wants, or their desires. If you were with me yesterday, I had a little homework for you. I asked you to think about your product or service and write a simple, straightforward, single statement value proposition that you could use to generate more business. And today we're kind of continuing that journey. Today we'll be talking about unique selling points, also known as USPs. So I'm going to give you all a couple of minutes to join me. And if you like the topic, if you like what we talked about yesterday, if you watched my video or if you saw it live, please share the content. I really am on this journey because I love helping people. I love helping business owners. I myself come from a family of small business owners, many local service providers. We have hairdressers and people who had fence companies and ran auto body shops and mechanics. I myself, I've spent more than a decade in marketing. I've worked in enterprise-sized organizations that sell software, business management solutions, and I've also worked for small nonprofits and local service providers, plumbers and churches and things of that nature. My specialty is driving more traffic to your website, more traffic to walk through your front door, more people to ring your phone and order your service. And I just really love being able to share the advice and the guidance that I've received over the years, and that I've also used over the years to help generating more revenue for my clients and for the companies that I worked for. And so that's what I want to do with this show. And so thank you so much for joining me. Today, like I mentioned, we're going to talk about unique selling propositions, and I'm going to illustrate for you how we're doing no extra work whatsoever, but simply leveraging your unique selling proposition, you can increase your revenue by 16%. So let's start off with some basic facts. What is a USP, or a unique selling proposition? It's also known as a unique selling point, and it's really, really simple, actually. It's that which separates you, your business, your service, your product from the competition. Everybody does things a little bit differently, or their product may have a slightly different feature that a certain segment of your audience is really going to love and appreciate. You can leverage that the right way and put together the right messaging, the right marketing. You can generate more revenue for your business while doing the same and sometimes even less work. So we're going to talk about 2 specific instances where business owners were able to leverage their unique selling proposition to increase revenue. One in particular increased the revenue by 16%, and they're both service providers. I will forewarn you, we do have a little bit of math today in today's show, and even though this is marketing, the best marketing leverages data. It leverages information that we already have, that we already know, in such a way that we can use it to increase the revenue being generated by our businesses. And so we will be doing a little bit of math. If you have a pen and a paper, or a pencil and a paper, get it out. There's going to be a few things that I want you to write down today. And specifically speaking, as I mentioned, 2 service providers. One is a personal service provider and one is a home services provider. The first one I want to talk about is a hairdresser. And I got inspiration for this. My sister is a hairdresser on the East Coast, and so I called her up and I started asking her questions about, typical men's haircut versus a typical woman's haircut, the time involved, the cost, and what would happen if you took less clientele of a certain kind and did less services, basic services, and upsell those services based on her unique selling proposition. So I want to kind of highlight the first thing I want you to write down on one line, and then on another line, I want you to write men on one line and women on another line. So men on one and women on the other. And I asked myself, suppose a typical men's haircut costs about $25. They go in, they get a wash, they get a haircut, sometimes they get a rinse, and they get it styled. It costs about $25. And it typically will take the hairdresser 30 minutes to run through that. And if she's really fast, she can get 2 done in an hour. The typical women haircut and wash would cost $45. And she can get through 1 woman client per hour. So really quick off the bat, we have 2 men per hour at $25 a pop equals $50 an hour. We have 1 woman per hour at $45 a pop. Pretty simple, $45 an hour. So on the surface, you see right off the bat that that the men actually generate $5 more per hour for the hairdresser. If you were to push that out over the course of a year, what you would see is in any given week, the hairdresser can take care of 30 men and 15 women, and that comes out to about $1,425 per week. It also comes out to about $74,000 per year. That's a pretty good living, no matter where you live in the country. But our hairdresser was actually a champion at coloring and styling. And when she was in beautician school, she entered some competitions, and she did very well in those competitions. And she did a little bit of work. I live in Southern California, so she may have done a little bit of work in Hollywood and made a name for herself. And the difference in cost between a typical style and a cut went from $45 to $150. 45 versus 150. You see where I'm going here? So the hairdresser's unique selling point is not just cuts, but also color and styles. So what would happen if she took the 15 women per week that she saw, and she was able to leverage her unique selling point, or her USP, and take 20% of those women and was able to upsell them to a color and a style. So that's about 3 women per week. Again, we're going to have a little bit more math. So before we had 30 men per week and we had 15 women per week. The women took about an hour at a time, and the men were about 30 minutes at a time. So we had our hourly breakouts. So we had $50 per hour for the men, $45 per hour for the women. However, when you throw in your unique selling point, the color and the style at $150 a pop over the course of 2 hours, we're going to show you how she now does less clients in the same amount of hours for a 16% growth in the revenue that she's able to create in her hairstyling business. So if she did the same amount of hours, remember, because it takes twice as long now to do a color and a style, she can no longer service 15 women clients. She can only service 12 women clients. So if 20% of that, 20% of her original 15 was 3 women per week. So now that means she has 3 women per week that are color and style, and she has 9 women per week who are just coming in to get their hair washed and trimmed. And so the difference in the cost of that to her clients and the difference in the revenue that she's generating is quite substantial. So her men remains the same. 30 men per week, $25 a pop. It comes out to $750 per week. Now, she only has 9 women that are going through the typical cut and wash. 9 at $45 comes out to $405 per week. But 3 of her women clients are selecting the color and style, and she charges $150 for that. That comes out to $450 per week. Previously, she was making $1,425 per week. Now, she's making $1,650 per week. Over the course of a year, her income went from $74,000 per year to $85,800, a 16% increase, simply because she took the fact that she was really good at one thing and she upsold it to her clients at a clip rate of about 20% of her women clientele. In future episodes, we're going to talk about promotions and how you can take your unique selling proposition to create promotions to actually drive traffic into your stores and to increase revenue that way, let alone just relying on your upsell. I promised you 2 examples though. The second example is a home services provider, and we're going to be talking about plumbers today. So I live in Southern California, and in Southern California, most of the homes are built on a slab foundation. That means there's a slab of concrete and the house is built directly on top of it. We don't have basements, and most of our homes are not raised up. We don't typically have to worry about flooding or things like that. However, our ground is relatively soft, and being in Southern California, we do have earthquakes as well. So we get what's called slab leaks. And plumbers who specialize in slab leaks can make a heck of a lot more money than plumbers that don't. And so if you're a plumber and you have, say, specialized equipment that allows you to localize a slab leak and fix slab leaks very minimally, you can use that as a unique selling point or unique selling proposition to generate more traffic and more business for your plumbing organization. Now, the second part of how plumbers can use USPs is by leveraging tools that are readily available. And if you're a service provider and you're listening today, if you're a business owner and you're listening today, and anyone gives you reviews, that means they're also giving you competition reviews. And if you can leverage your competition's reviews, you can understand what your competition doesn't do well and deliver that same service excellently. So in any given area, if you find plumbers who get 3.5 to 4 out of 5 stars on, say, Yelp, for instance, one of the really cool things you can do is filter by stars. So if you look down and you look, say, I only want to read level 1 and level 2 stars, a lot of the times when you start reading the commentary in there, you'll discover the issues that one customer has is typically the same issue that most customers have. Now, in plumbing, something that's really typical that people complain about on a regular basis is the cleanliness of the plumber that comes to them. And so if you are in an area where your competitors are getting customer complaints about their plumber was dirty, he didn't wear booties on his feet, he looked disheveled, and people are really were displeased with that, you can actually create promotions or radio ads or flyers and banners and things of that nature that talk about why people love you guys. And one of the things that could be is that you take pride in your plumbers being clean, having a nice pressed shirt, not smelling like the last job when they came in the door, caring for your home by wearing booties. And so it's really important. Whatever it is that you sell, whether it's a physical product or it's a service or it's a software, you need to understand what separates you from your competition, and that's called the unique selling point. When you leverage a unique selling point, like our hairdresser example, sometimes you can raise your revenue by up to 16% by doing less or the same amount of work. As I mentioned, we're going to talk more about promotions in a future episode. But again, if you're joining me and this is your first time, thank you so much for joining me on this journey. Again, my name is Robert Vicola. I am a marketing advisor, consultant, and coach. I'd love to provide you some advice and help you grow your business. Please watch and share my Periscope videos. If you didn't participate yesterday, I would love for you to watch that video yesterday and come back tomorrow telling me what value proposition you developed for your business, your company. So thanks so much for joining me, and we'll